today we got to play Fractured Sky. Now, the sky is falling. And our islands fell. And so a dinosaur...
Well, our islands rose. These are evil islands.
The question is, did everybody believe the chicken when he said it?
What chicken?
The sky's falling.
Oh, I don't know.
Never
I don't get the reference. That shows you my age. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and that notification bell.
That's right. Because you care.
Board games are awesome.
And you probably know who Chicken Little is.
Yeah.
Chicken Little.
That's who he was referring to.
Okay.
It's okay.
I believe you.
It's all right, Miranda. We
All
love you. Bless your heart.
So, Robert, can you tell us more about Fractured Skies?
This is a 2023 release. It's ranked 7.7. Overall rank is 8,919. Plays 1 to 5 people in 45 to 75 minutes. I think it took us a little bit longer than that. Ages 14 and up. I think a younger crowd could handle this game. I think 14 might be a little high.
I think it is a little high.
Designed by Max Anderson, Zach Dixon, and Austin Harrison. Published by 4 Studio. At least I'm assuming that's what you would say. It's ID Studio. MSRP for the base game without this version is $49 to $50. But it's still not available yet. So you can still late pledge it and get it that way, but it's not available at a retail store yet. Red Games, though, has a copy available for the deluxe version at $165.99. And then
is that the standard deluxe?
Just regular standard deluxe. And then there's the super deluxe version.
That's what this is.
Yes. And then that ranged anywhere on eBay and Geek Market from $169 all the way up to $299.
Wow.
So
pricey. What'd you pay for it, man?
I think it was $179 plus shipping, so it was probably about $200 something around there.
Yeah.
Okay, so just gotta keep that in mind. All right, so let's talk about quality of components. Holy moly!
Yeah. Hokey cow.
I mean, talk about absolutely gorgeous.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
painted miniatures.
This is super deluxe only. In the regular deluxe, you just get they're still the same shape and same structure. They're just not painted.
And the regular deluxe, yeah. So you get magnet
chips,
power tokens that go, so you hide what your power is until it's revealed time, because this is an area control game.
Which I think actually that's critical to the gameplay. If you were having a chip, like a cardboard, and you knock the chip off, it could slide off easily.
Now, you said that the magnetic version is still the deluxe.
The deluxe has
but
the magnetic
not the standard.
Not the standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, that is freaking awesome. I would love to see that more often in games. As well as the Skyfall tokens.
The star pieces.
Star pieces. These are metal. They're very, the shiny metal that turns into the different colors.
Yeah, but again, that's just the super deluxe.
Yeah, the standard deluxe, there's like plastic shards.
Yeah, and then...
this is what I think was one of the coolest
parts.
This
is your holographic cards. Like the whole card is holographic.
Super thick.
Yeah, it looks like it's moving. Like the areas that are water just look like water falls and pouring. Yeah,
just
they're really
super
cool.
neat.
So I have to say this is breathtaking. The player boards, everything's inlaid.
Massive table presence.
It's got to be.
It's
10. It's 10. It's 10.
Yeah, and the board has like highlighted details on it. The only complaint I had about the board was like, which we'll get, I guess, more theme, but the pluses that indicate how many connections there are. When you go to a dark area, I would have liked to have seen them light in the light versus on the dark.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to see some of them.
It can be hard to see, especially the lines connecting the areas where you build. It can be tough to see.
But that's more thematics. But, I mean, yeah, it's quality components of the 10.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. All right, so moving on to theme. The theme is that you're trying to get enough Skyfall to take to a dragon to hopefully raise up your islands once again.
Skyfall would be a James Bond movie, so these are stars that fell from the sky.
That's what I mean. Y'all kept making jokes. I don't even know anymore. Yeah. All right, so that's
either way. You're trying to get these star pieces and win the game.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, this game is gorgeous. I mean, normally put gorgeousness with theme. I think the artwork is really, really well done.
Very colorful.
Is the storyline intrinsic to the game? But it's really pretty.
Well, I mean, I think it makes sense. You're gathering the stars.
Everything mechanic-wise makes sense to the game.
That's true.
I mean, so the concept of the story isn't really fleshed out, but most games don't have a backstory unless you're playing an RPG style game.
That's true.
Games.
Yes. I know. All I know is the ships are pretty. So I'm definitely a 9 for this because it's just so gorgeous. You can't not. It's so pretty.
I think I'm a 9.5 for the only reason why I dinged it a little, I think, is because Randy kind of hit it on the head. Is as far as the graphic design, it is hard to see some of the connections where you build your buildings connected to what islands. And so you'd have to kind of have to do this to kind of make sure you see those connections. But I think that's super minor.
Yeah.
So that's really about it.
Well, the other one for me, and I'm a 9.5 as well, is the player boards. For this bothers the heck out of me. That you have the cardboard thing that's all the other ones, it's the color of the player.
Yeah.
And in this case, we have green, there's a purple, there's kind of a fuchsia, red, and a yellow. All the other ones match. You can match the boards, but this one doesn't match at all. I mean, this looks like a very lighter, Incredible Hulk. You know, I mean, it's
there you go.
Yeah, this just really,
which would have been much cooler if you're going to go that route to do the Mr. Fix-It gray color.
And and the blue is more of the purple. If the blue looked more blue, I could have a blue and she could have a purple with the fuchsia, but instead now I get the green, which is on teal. Which also doesn't make a lot of sense, but this is the worst case of it. Yeah.
But again, minor, really, but...
We're nitpicking, guys. We're nitpicking.
That's why I only knocked it half a point for all that.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to the rule book.
Randy.
All right, so the rule book is actually a really easy read. The rule book is fairly thick. It's a small book, though, compared to the size of the box. But it's 32 pages in length, not counting that it's got a nice cover and credits on the back. There's a little one-page backstory, if you will. Then you go into, they have a table of contents, which again is something you don't typically see in a lot of rule books. The component list, there's 2 component lists in the book. There's one for the 3 to 5 player game and one for the 1 to 2 player game. I probably would only play this 3 to 5 players, even though it says it's 1 to 5, because the 1 to 2 player, unless you're a solo player, I don't play solo, but if you're a solo player, you may want to play it. It has a completely different rule set, and you basically have an AI opponent, and I don't like that in a 2-player game. You've got the setup. Setup is a breeze. Your player board telling you where everything goes on the player board, super easy. The cards and how they work, everything was fine. The only thing that was kind of confusing is when you're evaluating end of round, it specifies basically what you win for first place, second place, third place in each region, and fourth is nothing basically. But they didn't specify if you evaluated if you didn't have starfall in that region. It didn't come out and specify it, but we kind of determined that it wouldn't make much sense not to do that.
It would have made
because there's production
drastically slow.
Yeah, because your production cycles wouldn't fire. But the way it specifies and the example it shows has starfire or starfall.
Well, no, but it does say that if one of it's missing.
No, it doesn't say if one's missing. It says if you don't get first, you go down to second. You have to take the highest level, is what it says. But it doesn't say that.
But in the case of there's no star piece, the most valuable.
Yeah.
And then second place will start getting resources.
So I think it needed to specify that. Yeah. Probably one line is all it would have taken to say, evaluate each region regardless of whether it has stars.
Yeah, because if it doesn't evaluate each region.
Yeah, it would change this game drastically.
Yeah. I mean, the rulebook does a fine job. It's got a nice font. I mean, it's easy to read. It's not difficult on the eyes.
I like the layout of it.
Yeah, and the layout is actually well done. It's got different color sections for the gameplay. And then you go to the 1 to 2 player rules, which actually are fairly lengthy. It's almost, I think, 10 pages almost of rules for just the 1 to 2 player.
I don't mind trying it out solo. Because, we'll talk about gameplay, but it could be a very different game solo, and that could change my opinion overall.
So, yeah, I think the rulebook does a fine job. I'll probably give it an 8, I
think. So, gameplay.
All right, so let's get into gameplay. So, the gameplay is pretty straightforward. You have a couple of options you can do. You can place one of your larger ships by secretly placing a power. Now with this, it's very important. You have 3 ships, and the total for the 3 ships cannot exceed 10 unless you really want a hefty penalty. So,
which I screwed up massively for one round. I really botched the entire round because I mistakenly thought in one island. But it's your 3 ships combined.
I thought you were just really bad at math.
Well, there's that too.
10 plus 9 plus 7 is...
It is Shut Up Randy.
All right. So again, here I've secretly, you can place it down. The other option is you can spend resources for either a market. Now a market will end up when the scoring triggers will allow you to take a resource that is that's
adjacent to it.
That a resource that's on an island adjacent to where your ship is. So, for example, in this case, there's 2 wood. So, if I had a market here, I would only get to choose wood. Now, but if I was up here and I had a coin and a iron, it's still the same market, but I'm going from up here, so I will take either a gold or a ore. So just kind of keep that in mind.
But in order to build the market, you have to have a presence of at least 1 strength in one of the adjacent areas. So you would have to basically, at the beginning of the game, have played one of your ships there, or you could build a fortress, which we'll get into now.
Yeah. So the other thing the markets, then you could also build a fortress, which just gives you a +1 present. They get built in the locations, you can either build market or these buildings. So it's like building locations. And that will give you a +1 to your power when basically battling for the area control aspect to the game. It also gives you a present where you may not have a ship, which is very, very useful.
And it stays there.
Yeah.
And it stays there the whole game.
Yes.
So very useful. And that way, because a lot of times, especially towards the end of the game, there are some areas that don't have anything. And so it's really useful to have this because at least you can trigger.
And you still get potentially resources even though you may not have a ship there.
Correct. So that works out very, very well. The last thing that you can build is one-time use baby ship. So you can build a ship, put it on there. It goes away, though, at the end of the round, so it does not come back.
So it's the opposite of the fortress. The ship goes away, the fortress stays.
But it adds 1 same function.
Yeah.
Yeah, it completes the same function. So you keep taking turns until you have played your 3rd and final ship. So make sure you don't place that 3rd ship and thinking that you get a few more actions. That's not the case. As soon as this is placed, you're done for the round.
There are 2 other actions you can do, which is to look at these cards over here. So each round, first of all, there's objective cards that you place out at the beginning of the game. These are all face down, and each round, one will be revealed for the round that you're on. The bottom ones, the first round of the game, you're only going to have 1, and this is a hidden location where there'll be a star. And there's also a revealed one, so that one everybody sees. So every round there'll be 1 that everybody knows where it's going. But these accumulate. So each round you're going to reshuffle these, and the first round's 1, then it's 2, then 3, all the way up to 5. And you can peek at these, paying 2 gold, and decide which one you want to look at. You look at it secretly, and then if you place one of your cubes, you can choose to get one of the resources pictured on the card, which gives you kind of a refund for your cost of purchase, but it also tells everybody a little bit of information about the location, because different locations have different production, so they know if you get a gold back, it's a location that produces some gold.
All the ones that don't produce gold are now eliminated from that possibility.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's kind of like a little element of clue in the game.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's pretty much the game. Overall...
Well, then at the end, then you
then we score. We evaluate
power on and whoever has the most power will win the top prize, which is if they're by themselves, they just get resources or the
Starfalls is considered number 1
right.
if present. So that's also it says present on here. And then 2 is both resources, 3 is 1 resource, 4 is no resource.
So if you're number 4, you're screwed.
Yeah, pretty much. But why were you there to begin with?
Or, I mean, a lot of times it could be just because of like what I did by accident. I didn't, like I said, I didn't realize it's all the ships no matter where you were at. I did a total of 16. Yeah.
No, 26.
Yeah, 26.
Because 10,
and so when you go over 10, you reduce that difference of 16. All your ships are now reduced by 16. You don't have anything that powerful. So that means all my ships is 0. So I went from having really good presence in 3 different areas to having no presence in all areas.
Yeah, so the rule of 10 is very important in this
Very important.
Yeah, very. Don't mess with it. Overall, it was okay. I'm not a big fan of area control. I'm good at it. I won, obviously, by a lot. But
obligatory eye roll.
Well,
Miranda won.
I got 11. The highest one was 8.
I know.
But I'm not a huge fan of area control.
Well, I mean, there's a little bit more to it than area control. You do have production in this, which is, so you do have building up a little bit of an engine.
But not enough.
No, but it's very light. And that's my biggest grievance about the game. It's
think
kind
so
of a
too.
one-trick pony.
I think that maybe if there was more tension, like with El Grande, I love El Grande. So if there was like a way to maybe eliminate
or move, like El Grande, that's one of the
buildings.
things you can do things to manipulate. It was a little more attacky than this one, though.
Sure, but I'm okay with that.
But El Grande is a classic. I mean, it's one of the best area control games out there.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, if there had some kind of element like that, it could drastically affect what I think of the game. So, but I agree, it's just a little too light.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's just for the production quality of it, it is lacking. I'm hoping to come out with some expansions that add more to it, because it doesn't have that much depth to it. So,
such a beautiful game.
It's so really pretty.
It's very pretty, and I still enjoyed it enough. I'd like to play it more. I just don't think it's it's definitely not as good as it looks. And from that, I'm probably going to give it a 7. I think that's where I'm at.
I think I'm close to that. I think I'm at a 6.5. I just think that if it had just a little bit more depth or tension to it, I think it could make a big difference.
Well, I'm going to give it a 6. It's a fine area control game. I'm just not a huge fan of area. It's not my cup of tea, and I think it is too light. And
it might be more fun if you get a bunch of people that just never played these type of games before, and they can kind of ooh and ah over it, and you can just kind of get that enjoyment from them. It might make a difference too.
Well, I mean, for me, I think it had to do a lot with, I don't know, I don't think there was enough depth for it for me.
I agree.
And I'm just not a huge fan of area control. And that, like you said, it's a one-trick pony. Area control, one-trick pony, not my cup of tea. So with that, but it's still fine. It's a fine one. Mm-hmm. It's not very attacky, which I would have.
You would have hated it. Yeah, you would have hated it otherwise.
They would have been like, Miranda's not in this review, is what would have happened. So with that, I think a 6 is fine for me.
Okay.
So, well, guys, we had an absolute blast tonight. Hopefully you'll come hang out with us again. We'll catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.